dying. He is dying. He's 20 miles. He's not in shape. He's running. And these big guys are in pretty good shape because they've done this before. They know the routine. They're right behind him, talking to him the whole time. Greg, don't let us beat you. You'll have to do it again. I've seen it done. Coach will make you do it again. So Greg's getting even more pumped up. And they're breathing down his neck. Oh, don't let us beat you. Don't let us beat you. It's down to 1 mile to go. Turns into a flat-out sprint at the end. Greg just crossed the little finish line just before these big guys are right behind. Coach is like, good job. You can beat him. You don't have to do it again. There's a shape, he wasn't ready for that. So then he's like, okay, that's done. It's time to play. I'm ready to play some basketball. Coach goes, all right, you got 3 options. First option, hit the weights. Second option, massage room. Third option, isometric exercises. And what those are is just jumping around. Some jumping exercises. You're jumping over pylons, you're skipping rope, you're touching the backboard, etc. Right? They got a trainer that does just jumping exercises, working on your quick twitch muscles. So, obviously, my cousin goes straight to the massage room. He's ready to go. He loves it. Gets down on the table. This old lady comes in. He's like, oh, no. Starts giving him a massage, rubbing down those muscles. Yells. So Greg called me up and said it wasn't a good massage at all. Brent was terrible. I hurt more after than I did before when I was walking in. So, next day, that was it for the day. Goes home, goes to bed, fell asleep right away. Comes up, next day, coach walks in. All right, get your running shoes on, 20-mile run. Same thing. Don't let the big guys beat you. Did the same thing every day for 2 months. 2 months. They did not touch basketball at all for 2 months straight. So he did the reverse. He'd go on a little trend, weightlifting one day, isometric exercise the next day, etc., etc. Then all of a sudden, one day he walks in. He doesn't even bring his basketball shoes anymore. He just brings his running shoes. Walks in, sits down, puts his running shoes on, getting ready. Guys are still trashing him a month later. Don't let us beat you today, Greg. All right. Coach comes in. This is what he says. Just like this. Hope you guys are ready to play today. And he leaves. Then he leaves. Now, picture this. You have not touched the basketball for 2 months. Coach comes in and just does that. Everyone's just sitting there going, looking at each other. I didn't even bring my basketball shoes. What's going on? What should I do? Coach walks in again. What's wrong with you guys? I said you better be ready to play. Walks in again. Comes back in third time. Because they're sitting just like you guys are sitting right now. Guys, I'm telling you, you gotta be ready to play. Walks in. So guys start, all right, well maybe we're gonna play today. Then they start getting a little pumped up, a little excited because they haven't played in 2 months. Coach walks in again the next time. Brand new uniforms. Puts them down, brand new Nike uniforms. Puts them down. Guys, I'm telling you, you better be ready to play. Walks in the next time. Brand new Nike shoes. My cousin got excited. It's like, yeah, basketball shoes. They put on the basketball shoes. Start putting on the new uniforms. And they're getting, yes, this is go time. This is go time. This is nice. Look at this. They start modeling to each other, etc. Coach comes in while they're modeling to each other. Yells at them. Guys, I'm telling you, you have to be ready to play. Walks in again. Comes in. Next time, goes, all right, guys, huddle up. We're ready to go. You guys have worked together for 2 months. You're ready to go. It's time to play. I know you guys have been waiting for this all year. It's go time. Let's go. And he leads the team out in the run. They're running out. And picture this, a 15,000 seat arena. Empty. Not a soul in the building. Everything just echoes through the building. Lights are on. And through this echo building, all my cousin can hear is balls bouncing. There's another team there as they're running on the floor. They're They're running on. Greg started getting a little hop in the step. He's like, yeah, it's about time I can play some basketball. I've been waiting for this my whole life. Runs on. Grabs a basketball from Morrow. One of the kids is there throwing the basketballs. Looks to the team that's warming up in the basket. His jaw hits the floor. He cannot believe he's just standing there staring. Coach yells at him, Greg, you gotta be ready to play. And he gets the ball and starts warming up. Lo and behold, the people warming up on the basket across from them are the 1995 World Champion Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Bill Cartwright, B.J. Armstrong, all of them. He couldn't believe it. It turns out the Chicago Bulls were playing in the McDonald's Open in Europe right after they won the championship. They needed a place to practice before they flew over. The only place they could practice without having swarms of people and media attention was at Florida International University, the only place that they could confine the place well enough. Florida International is kind of on an island just off Florida coast. So this is the only place they could play and practice. And they were like, sure, bring them up. We'll play anyway. So my cousin got to play the 1995 World Champion Chicago Bulls. And by golly, he was ready to play. Come on in. B.J. Armstrong scored 27 points on my cousin in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. He found out how good those Americans really were right off the start. But he learned one valuable lesson. The final score was 120 to 60. It wasn't even close. It was never close. In the first half, it was 40 to 2. Now, that's the first quarter, I'm sorry. Now, what he realized is to be world champions. What happened was, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, everyone was playing to their capability. As soon as someone slacked off or someone didn't do their job, they yelled at them. They didn't care who they were playing. It was almost like they were playing themselves. It was almost like a golf game. They knew what they had to do, and if someone didn't do it right, they knew. So they knew. And he took that the whole time. He knew now what it takes to play. You gotta practice just like you go into a game situation. So what you guys are doing right now is the same thing that my cousin did. Right? We're training you right now. It might not be directly, it might not be, I don't have 20-mile run. We don't have big masseuse who's gonna come in. We don't have any of that. But what we're training for you right here is very important. And everyone's going to get something different out of it. It might not directly apply to what we're doing. When these kids come here, it's almost like we're throwing you in the fire. Right? All this training will be like, oh, that's not what they taught us. That's not what they told us would happen. Because everything's different. And it's how you adapt to those things that is what's going to happen. And how you play those Chicago Bulls is what's going to make the difference. So, at the beginning, when you come back, I'm going to say, are you ready to play? Because as soon as those kids come, it's go time. You got to be at your best, no matter what. Ready to go. Okay, so that's the story of the day. What we're going to do now is we're going to start training. We're going to start doing the 20-mile run. Right? We're going to start off the ran as a little icebreaker for you. Your first option.
Okay. What these are like, they're bingo sheets, but instead of having numbers on them, they just have a bunch of different things. What you guys have to do is go around the room and, like, one of the things is has a tattoo. So you have to find someone in this room that has a tattoo and write their name over top of that square. And there are certain things that, like someone who ate fast food today, well, anyone can say that, but you have to say where and what they had, stuff like that. So, and if possible, try not to do like, don't have, yeah, like, yeah, like, and then we have the prize for whoever gets it done first. Okay. It's one.
Let's get up and move around there, guys. We don't have Where's Mike?
Anybody here live off campus?
You own a car.
Oh, okay, what's your name?
Mike Johnson.
Who owns the car?
You know the school,
Anybody have a tattoo? Sweet. Anybody eat fast food today? Good job. Been to Europe? Did you see that? Anybody's favorite actor, Adam Sandler? Maybe the drama major. Brother, your drama major.
I'm looking for gray eyes. Gray eyes. I wish.
Okay, who owns a car?
Can we use like people's wives?
Nope.
Glenn, what can you do for me?
I can do that.
I can't tell you. Glenn, you want to
I can't use your name. What's your last name?
No.
Can we use those?
Met someone famous.
I went through my school last weekend in Boston.
No, I should know.
I haven't had to, buddy. Now, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
let's see, I'm going to get some laser. I can set you up. Last name M.S.
Try to fill it up.
He's calling you around. Like,
I'm in the old though. I gotta be in the old.
I met Paul.
I know somebody met Eric.
Oh, you went? Yeah, I got that.
Brent, do you have a tattoo, Brent? No. Do you play in a band? You know the school motto?
We need the whole card. What can you do?
What's your last name? I wear glasses.
You're my team.
You have a tattoo, right? Okay, so what can I do for you? Now I have to go. Everybody plays in the band. I've got everyone in the
MJ, who have you met that's famous? You've met lots of famous people. You just need to name one. Paul Schaefer.
What about you, Duran? You're not.
I got a few notes.
I can either help you with the famous.
Sure. Hey, Brantford, eh? Yeah, I'm on a roll.
I got everyone in their room, but I need more. Kathy, what else can you do?
Okay, Catherine.
I can go get the
Europe, buddy. Oh, yeah. Because I got the room and I have to fill out my room.
You already have them all done. I'm just gonna copy up yours.
I'm looking for last name ends with S.
I'm helping out too many people here.
Okay, what if you get a whole line? Do you win?
No, keep going.
Okay. But I got everyone in the room now.
Okay, then you can start doing it.
Okay, so I just
I haven't met people over here. They're in the middle.
Mike, are you wearing a cap? Yes. Who lives out of the country?
Anybody else vegetarian?
Is there any vegetarians? Are you vegetarian?
If you can't find someone like...
Oh, I already have Emily.
But you can have her for duplicates because I got everyone in the room and I still didn't know I'm vegetarian.
Emily, you're my vegetarian.
Is anybody playing a band?
I have two sisters too.
Oh, Emily, you rock. Geography major? Mike? Oh, you're down for about 5 things. Anybody's name start with a vowel? Yeah, Aaron, Emily. Who lives out in the country? Anybody? That's Emily. Aaron, okay. And who plays in a band?
I used to.
That's the only one I have left.
No, you got curly hair, right?
I dream I play a band.
Show you pictures if you want first year curly hair.
Have you ever played in a band?
Have I ever been?
Gary, you probably
Let's
did.
sing contest. Kind of what?
You ever played in a band?
No.
Joy, you ever played in a band? Yeah. Okay. Bingo. No cards.
So fair. You always do this. It's illegal for you to play.
I just shouted and people went there.
Someone ate fast food today. You bet. Who's been to Europe? Yeah? Randy's been to Europe. Who's been to Europe?
People all talk to me. I went around to every person
I told you.
Whose last name ends with an S?
Brent Evans.
Who has curly hair?
I do Seeker.
I think your hair is curly.
I'm the only vet. I'm not actually the Brianna.
I just said, give me some. They just pull out my hand.
I get stuff from that way.
Yeah, I'm a lucky girl. Okay, look at that.
No, that's good design. One of my buddies works for it. I have no idea. I just met him one day. He gives me like posters for like
You know what? Like, it's just all right. Does everyone fill out their card?
Don't jump around so much, Brent, because it's hard to take.
Good job. Good job. The first person who filled out their card.
But I cheated apparently. How that works, I don't know. I went around, did I not talk to everyone in the room? Tina, I beat her. I'm hungry.
You're supposed to attend this 20 minutes.
I've been out of there for 30 minutes.
All right, good job. Hopefully that got you guys talking, getting to know some people. Some people have curly hair, some people played in the band, etc. They're conversation starters, right? And this is something that you can do in your groups when you first see the people. There's tons of different icebreakers you can do, right? One icebreaker that people do a lot of is they send them, okay, I need everyone to go grab some toilet paper. Yes, the toilet paper one, it's very classic. Come on back. And they have to say, for every piece of toilet paper they bring back, they have to say something about themselves. Right? That's one that's happened. I've used a couple others. You put them in a group. You have to have an older group for this. Make sure they're not too rowdy. Right? Give them all a match. They like the match, and they have to talk about themselves until the match goes in. Or that gives them also that option if they don't feel comfortable talking that they can just shake.
Or for an older group.
Or light a cigarette and then they can just keep going.
Yeah.
You don't want Natalie with a match.
They have that option, right? Or you
Natalie.
can do any different type of name games, right? There's a bunch of name games. You can be like, okay, this is a game that I'm going to teach you really quick. My name is Brent, and I'm hosting a party. Right? And to come to my party, you have to bring something good, right? So, yeah. So, my name is Brent, and I'm bringing a banana to the party, right? And then, Gloria, what would you bring to the party?
I'm gonna bring a gorilla.
Beautiful, and Gloria could come. Sorry.
Gloria?
Tell me, what would you say?
I'm gonna bring a big elephant.
See,
But not with a big, because it's an extravagant elephant.
yes, and you could come, right? Now, so if you see the trick is you have to say your name, and then say you're bringing something that starts with the same letter as your first name, right? And you can change that around. It can be the last letter, it can be anything.
color of shirt they're wearing. You can make it really weird, or you can make it really easy, right? It can be the letter after yours in the alphabet. So it could be Brent, I'm bringing citrus, etc. Right? There's tons of different name names, and we'll go through a billion of them. So you guys are ready when they come, so they get to know people's names. Right? The next step we're going to do, we've learned a little bit about each other on the intro. Right? The next step we're going to do is we're going to go deeper. Get to know a little bit about yourselves and what some of your philosophies are. Right? What I'd like you to do is think about this long and hard. If you were one of these tools, we're opening up the toolbox. If you were one of these tools, which tool would you be? So, I would like all the people that think they would be a hammer to come on to this corner over here. All the people that think they would be a screwdriver to this corner over here. All the people that think they would be a ruler, come on over here. Right? And all the people that think they would be a wrench over here. Right? Think about it. I'll go through them again. You got a hammer, screwdriver, ruler, wrench. Right? Think about which tool you would be, and then think about why you would be that tool. You got a little bit of time to think about it, then go to your corners. And then I'll explain the next step. Don't ask where people are going. If this is your tool.
Oh, sorry.
Are you going to be a wrench?
You got a little bit of time, make your decision. Once you've decided what tool you're going to be, you got 2 minutes. I'd like you to discuss with the people in your group why you chose that tool. And see if it's the same as why yourself you chose that tool. See what the group thinks. Come to a consensus. Alright?
Screws off. You can loosen things that are tight. I like a wrench.
You're sweet.
I think a hammer's too aggressive.
Joke is lost.
You get a really stuck bolt. Put the screws to get out of that. Sight. Twist.
Alright! Let's close off the conversation here. Now let's bring it back to the main group, all of us. Alright? Now what you can see right here is the same thing as in any group that you're going to get. You're going to get people that are different, right? Have different philosophies, different feelings about things, etc. Right? So let's hear why some people are what tools they are. The wrenches, why are you a wrench? Anyone who wants to speak.
Take away, Guru.
Yeah. No, a lot of it was because it was not as forceful as like the hammer or the screwdriver, and it's a little more versatile. You know, because you don't have to use it as much, and it's not so precise as the ruler.
So it's more like good, good. The rulers?
We picked, a lot of us picked because we're perfectionists, we're on the verge, and we're very organized. And we thought it was because it's a big help. When you need information, you go to a ruler and website.
Information, you go to a ruler. Good. Rulers seem to be the most popular tool. They're fighting. Screwdrivers are fighting over who gets to talk. Here we go. Ready? Go ahead, guys.
Together? No, okay. As a screwdriver, we have the force of bringing things together, but we don't have the force of a hammer. We work with the screw. foundation, we make it strong. But it's gradual, it's a gradual process. Things need to be gradual, because there's time for adjustment. And you can still take the screws out, use the screwdriver all over again.
The hammers.
Okay, we were kind of all pretty much close to the same reason. Hammer's kind of forceful, kind of like, you know, being in charge. You can put things together with a hammer, but you can also take them apart if they're going the way you want it.
And the hammer, if you're out of control, I get out of control, and that's major destruction. You got your hand there? That's some hurt.
We're pretty hard-headed too.
Yeah, hard-headed, like with Lakehead. Good. Everyone have a seat? Good job. Now what you can see from this little exercise, I just gave you a bunch of, just a bunch of tools. And automatically, you separate yourselves into styles, right? Personality styles and leadership styles, okay? You got the hammers, who's told us that they like being in control, they like having power, strength, also causes a lot of destruction, right? You got screwdrivers, we discussed how they like doing different things, had different, little by little, they like working at it little by little, and all of a sudden the job gets done. Plus you have that screwdriver to use again. Rulers, describing themselves as being very precise. When you need information, you go to the rulers, etc. And the wrenches, saying that almost that they're not as forceful as the hammers and the screwdrivers, but still a useful tool that you can use all the time. Everyone here comes from different backgrounds, different upbringings, everything's different. And that's the same thing when you come the first day. You're going to have a different group that comes from different places. You're going to have some hammers, you're going to have some rulers, you're going to have some screwdrivers, you're going to have some wrenches, etc. Your job is to make them all fit into that toolbox. Make them all work. Make everything work together. So that's your goal. This is our icebreaker. We're going to close it off right here. We're going to move the floor over to Juanita over there. Let's introduce yourself to the group if they haven't met you already. I don't know.
My name is Juanita. I'm Juanita Lawson. I'm from the Career and Counseling Center. And you want me to like literally take the floor?
And,
It's you. That's a good lead into your stuff though, isn't it? What? The hammers and the toolkit?
Yeah, well, you know what? I said to Norma Jean, I said, obviously I don't know myself. This group, I thought, I'm in the wrong group. This is my perception, but it's, I mean, it's true. My perception of what that tool would be useful for is very different than other people in that group, which is, again, what Martin was alluding to earlier. Anyways, one of the fun things that I've been asked to do is to complete a Myers-Briggs with you as a group and personality inventory. Are people familiar with the Myers-Briggs personality inventory? Yeah. And one of the things, if you even this sort of brings on some anxiety, don't worry, because if you, doesn't matter what your personality is, you're here. It's good just to understand what your style is and your preferences in terms of doing things. Because that really definitely impacts you in terms of how you lead a group, but it also, the goal is also to look at how you're going to have many, many different styles, many different people with different personalities in your group that you're going to have to understand and know what will be helpful. So, do people have any concerns about doing a personality inventory?
Are you going to explain?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Now, are you a process-oriented person?
What?
Are you process-oriented? Are you a person that needs information before you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a good, because that's a style, that's a preference. And so, in terms of, again, in terms of your learning, when you're dealing with groups, if you have someone that needs detail, if they're going, yeah, that sounds okay to me, but I need more information, when they ask, that's because probably their preferences, that's how they make their decisions, that's how they move along. Okay, so we may find out that in your Myers-Briggs it will be process-oriented for you. Now, one of the things that we're going to do is I'm going to hand out does everybody have pens? Does everybody have pencils?
I think I have some.
So what I'll do is I'll just describe the Myers-Briggs a little bit, and then I'll hand out the testing instrument and explain to you how to for the inventory. And then what I'll do after that is we'll score them together, and then we'll talk about the different styles. And what the Myers-Briggs looks at, I'll give it a minute to you. What the Myers-Briggs looks at is very much whether you're an introverted or an extroverted. And Joy and I have this, we haven't bet any money, but I would assume that most people who are here would predominantly be more extroverted than introverted. But there may be people here who are introverted as well, and want to have this as an opportunity or use this opportunity to meet new people. And then also the Myers-Briggs as well looks at whether you're more of a thinker or a feeler, whether you're very someone who is very intuitive or sensing. Intuitive is very future-oriented, looking at possibilities, patterns. Sensing is very much gathering information from the world about your touch, your sight, your smell, those type of things. And then the Myers-Briggs as well looks at whether you are more, what's the last one? Perception and judgment, thank you. Judgment looks at whether you're very organized, routine, structure, those type of things, that's how you sort of understand the world and live in the world. And a perceptive person is very much, give me flexibility, give me spontaneity, that's how I live my life and that's how I learn about things. So it looks at those types of personality traits. Okay? So what I'll do is great. If you can use a pencil. So this is self-scoring, so you're going to be scoring it yourself. So if there are people who are concerned about, well, I don't want people to know about my personality style, you don't have to share it.
Can you fail this test?
No, it's not. It's definitely. It's not.
That's what I said, but I said I'm gonna fail.
It's an inventory. Brent?
Can we have cookies and juice while we cover
Actually, yes, please do.
You can. Can I explain to you how to do it first before you come up and get juice and things?
Oh.
Okay. All right. So if you look at the Myers-Briggs this side, one of the things, and I like this, is in terms of directions, do not open until you've read all the directions. The other thing I like, the first line, there are no right or wrong answers because this is your personality. So it's not saying that extroverted is better than introverted, it's just your preferences. Okay, so your answers will show up how you like to look at things and how you go about deciding things. Knowing your own preferences and learning about other people can help you understand where your strengths are, what kinds of work you might enjoy, and how people with different preferences will relate to each other. Okay? So as you see, there's this little perforated thing on the side. We won't take that off until the end, until you've actually completed all the questions. And so part 1 and part 3 are very similar in terms of the questioning format. Part 1 and part 3 ask you to look at which answer comes closest to how you usually feel or act, and you put an X in that space. And so when you think about these questions, you don't want to contemplate too long because it should come really naturally to you about, oh, this is how I usually do things. Sometimes though, people who are filling this out get stuck into thinking, well, I would like to be organized, and so that's how I'm going to score. But do you usually live your day in a very organized way? Okay? Or sometimes we think extroverted people, that we would prefer to be extroverted than introverted, but it's not necessarily that extroverted is better. If your style is introverted, then that's what you would want to answer.
What is extrovert and introvert?
Yeah, extrovert is more people-oriented. You live your life by relationships, and that's how you sort of experience if you're having difficulties. If you're an extroverted type of person, you would go out and probably talk to lots of people. This is what or even if you're happy, you tell people, you see it, you've got energy, enthusiasm. Introverted people tend to look at the world more in the sense of their own ideas, very reflective, inner thoughts, those type of things, and that's how they get energized. Introverted people get energized by removing themselves from the group, and then, like reading or writing or spending time by themselves. So I'll explain all those styles to you afterwards.
You can't know too much at a time.
I apologize.
Might skew it.
I have no clue what big words get floated around.
Okay, all right. So part 1, you can answer in that way, how you usually feel or act. Part 2, which word in each pair appeals to you more? And I like this because it really talks about, you want to look at what the word means, not how they look or how they sound. And so if you look at things like make or create, what do you prefer? Benefits or blessings, those kind of things. Okay? And then part 3, again, it's the same as part 4 as well. And then once you have completed it, you You would remove this stuff, and then what there's a score, it tells you how to score. Basically what you're doing is you're adding up all the scores across, and I'll help you when you get to that point. Okay? So have fun doing this. Don't contemplate too much. Then, of course, is extroverted. And that means for extroverted people are action-oriented. Okay? They live and they experience the world by doing things. And so that means as well that when extroverted people need to get energized, they go out and they love being with people. That's how they get energized. That's how they sort of live with the world, live in the world. Introverted, and so in terms of the scale, these are really related. So if you look at your E and your I, what's your strongest preference? Joy and I anticipated that we would have mostly E's here, but we probably would have a couple I's. Now, introverted is more reflective, so it's looking at the world, perceiving it, trying to understand it. It's very idea-oriented, and oftentimes people who are I, they need to check things out and understand things before making decisions. And also, I people like to, like I said earlier, they like to go away, and that's how they get energized. And they spend time in smaller groups. Put an I in a large group of people in a large room, that's not their preference. It would be more so going out with, one or two people. That's where their comfort level is. Eyes are also, don't spend a lot of time, they spend a lot of their energy just in smaller relationships, and that's where E people are more, they're out there, and they probably look like they have tons of friends, okay, where I's have more of a select group.
What if it's the same number, if it's an equal number?
Okay, if you are, that's a good question. If you are, let's say, what are your scores? 15, 15? 9 and 9. So people who are E and I, okay, so you got the E and the I. People who are sort of on the border or sit in the middle, shows that there's times when they know that this is their preference is to be with people, to socialize, to acknowledge, to share their feelings with people, but they also have a tendency and need to be introverted as well. So they have a balance really of both.
So what letter would you use?
Pardon?
So there's not a letter that you can use on the recording deck?
It would be E and I. It would be E type and I type. Pardon?
Okay.
When you read this code, you have to read both.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the sensing and intuition, these are ones that are on the same scale. And this is a neat, sensing people are very realistic. And how they understand the world is by sensing, by their sights, their sound, their touch, those type of things. And they're also very common sense. They're very fun-loving people, but they're practical, common sense, down-to-earth, those type of things. And so sensing people are really, really good to have. They also can be very immediate and practical, and so they like to have things done, as opposed to intuition people who are very insight-oriented, and they question why things are the way they are. And they also, intuition, we need people who have intuition because they give us vision, they give us ideas, they give us what to look forward to, how can things be different. And intuitive people are very future oriented, so that's great. We need those people, we need those types. Okay, so these two are related. So you can understand yourself in terms of how you fit in there. Now, thinking and feeling. People who are thinkers, analytical, factual, when they make decisions, they want to know what is it, give me the details, and before they make those decisions, it's very logical. They gather that information up. Okay, and a lot of the thinking and feeling really looks at your decision-making style. And thinkers are very logical, and they're great because sometimes feelers tend to be too feeling, because feelers tend to base the world and their understanding of how they make decisions on harmony. They're very harmonious. They like to have good relationships, cooperative, and sometimes feeling they're very humanist. And sometimes that gets in the way of making logical decisions. So if you look at your thinking and feeling perspective, and when you're working with groups, if you're a strong feeler and you're someone who tends to take things in from what people say to you and it sort of hits here, you need to, especially in a group when you've got 40 people, 40 new people, you're going to have to sort of try and say, okay, this is not me. This is not a reflection of who I am, because feelers tend to do that, right? Well, what's wrong with me? How can I do things differently? What did I do wrong? Those type of things. You're going to need to look at logical. You got to get that T side to say, this maybe person's having a bad day, or maybe this person, this is not their thing, so I need to not take it in. All right? Now, J and P, again, a number of very good strengths. Don't think of J. J is called judging, but J is also, it doesn't mean that you're judgmental. That's not what this means. Judgmental, people who are judging are very goal-oriented. They love structure and routine. They love having a sense of where they're going, a sequencing of events, those type of things. And so when you meet people who are standing in line at registration, if you have people who are very, very strong J's, you'll probably notice that they tend to get more frustrated because it's like sometimes, you know what you've been like through registration, it doesn't make sense. Why do I have to do this? And then I have to go over there, and it doesn't seem to, so there's no routine to things. You know, you gotta go here, and then you gotta go there, and then you gotta go here. It drives me crazy. And there's no routine to it, okay? And they're also very goal-oriented, and we know, and no offense against our registration process, but I've been through it a number of times, and sometimes it just seems to be too much. So if you're meeting people like that, it may be because they tend to be J's. The other thing, P, perceptive, very process-oriented. There are people who look at the options of things. There are people that look at future-oriented things again, and they also are very perceptive in terms of sensing the world around them. What else can I say about perceptive people? They can be very flexible and spontaneous, and they really, really process data in. So you want to have P's. You want to have P's in this group. People who can adapt to change. People who can be creative and flexible and don't need to be very, very structured. Okay? And people who are perceptive-oriented also, they can get really bored very quickly. So even if you think about your own learning, how do you learn? Do you learn in a routine manner, or do you need lots of change and stimulus all the time? Okay? So do you have any questions about this in terms of your styles? And if you think about it, if you look at if you're strong, really, really strong in one end and not in the other, it might be that if you think about the realistic and intuitive people are great because they have vision, but if they don't have the J side, that really practical, routine-oriented things, then a lot of times those great visions don't get met, or they don't get accomplished, right? Because they don't have a J side that sort of pulls them towards that. Okay, any questions? Now, do we have mostly E's here? How many E's do we have? Okay, so we have one eye. Great, okay. What about thinkers? How many thinkers do we have? Predominantly thinkers. Okay, so the rest, feelers.
I was going to say that guy.
You're what? Sensitive kind of guy? Okay. What about the realist? What about the sensing? Who's a sensor? And the rest are intuitive? You're sensing? Okay. What about the intuition? Visionary, okay. All right, good. Judging, the practical day-to-day routine. Okay, and then the perceptive part. Process. All right. Now, what I want to do is I just want to show you some helpful information for you about yourself. Both yourself and about, it looks like a lot of writing, but I just wanted to get some, so you don't have to write this down. So the first part here, extroverts, we'll look at the E's and the I's first. So this part here talks about you in an organization, how you work on the job, what are some of the things that you like. So E people, if you think about people who are extroverted, they like variety and action. Okay, they like things to be, and they don't like complicated procedures. Okay, they don't like things to be too complex, that type of thing. Often, and that's because they want to get things done. They're very good at greeting people, so those the I's and the E's that are here, that's great. And they also are interested in the results of their job. So even when you're doing the orientation for the week, it might be that at the end of the week, you know, you've helped so many people and you feel really, really good about that. Often that quickly at times without thinking, and so E's, you need to pay attention to that. And also, like-minded people around usually communicate freely, so that's really, really good. In terms of the introverted, like quiet for concentration. Careful with details, so that's good because eyes and E's, sometimes you need those eyes to say, hold on, you E's, get back here, and we need to do this first, don't we? The guys are really, really good at doing that. Pardon?
Get back
eyes can, one of the,
I apologize, go.
sometimes eyes have trouble remembering faces and names. And so even in your group, I don't know for people who are eyes here, that may be something that in your group you're going to have to just pay a little bit more attention to that. And a lot of times it's because of the introverted and things like that. Interested in the idea behind the job, like to think before acting, so eyes scan and contemplate, they think, they gather information, like to work alone, interested in, and again, that's what it is, interested in the idea behind the job. So how do you get along with someone who's an E? How do you get along with an extrovert? Extrovert, if you have extrovert friends, you know that they need lots of time and they need lots of energy. And so when you have those E's in your group, they're the ones that are going to be, they're going to be out there and they're going to be wanting to do all these things all the time. So you're going to have to pull them back and go, come on, we're going to do this first and then we're going to do this. Where E's is like, let me experience the world. Come on, let me experience my first year or my first week at university. So they want to have lots of variety, so you may find that the E's are saying, what are we doing next? What are we doing next? Where are we going there? When are we going there? Because they want to, that's how they experience things. Lots of friends. E's are socializing, they're out and about. They often speak without thinking, so those E's maybe get caught into, saying things to people that turn those people off. Sometimes they impact on their friendship, those type of things. They're fairly easy to understand, and it's a really living life. How do you get along with those I's in your group? They require time alone, so if you see people in your groups that tend to be more withdrawn, sort of hanging out in the back, those type of things, it might be just, it's not that they're being snobby, because I's often get caught into looking at as being snobby. That, well, why are you interacting with us? You must be a snob. Or you must be that you think you're better than us. Eyes, that's their style, that's their preference. They also dislike interruption, so if things aren't consistent, that doesn't go well with them. Can't put pressure to talking to already. So even if you think of your groups, you're going to have 40 people, you're going to have some people who are introverted. So when you start, those E's out there, you're going to say, oh, where are you from? What are you doing? Of course you're doing that. Where are you living? All that stuff. These people, they don't want to share. I still want to share all that information about themselves, especially because they don't know you, they don't have a relationship with you, and that's how they share information is often tends to be in smaller groups. Eyes are great though because they're really loyal, they're intense, and they often understand before trying things. So even if you think about what are some activities you're going to have on the orientation? What are some activities? Pardon? We're going to hike up the Sleeping Giant. So what do you think E's would say about that? Okay, let's go. Where are you going? When they're already on the bus. What about the eyes? Oh, it's too hot. Okay, what would eyes be thinking about? They may be thinking about the weather, the bugs. Okay, how am I going to manage being on this bus with 100 people? Getting out and being on a bus for an hour and a half with people. And I don't think I want to climb up with 100 people up, the Sleeping Giant. Thank you very much. I'll go by myself or with a group of friends, a small group of friends. Okay. The other thing is they need to understand why are we doing this. So maybe that you want to spend some time talking to them about what is it about Sleeping Giant that's so attractive? What's so beautiful about it up there? Why would you want to go? So you really want to spend some time with people like that. Okay, any questions about E's and I's? All right. Is this helpful? All right. For those of you who are sensing and intuitive, sensing, remember the realist? And this is on the job, so this is what we're talking about you. Like to have a way of doing things. So I'm sure that in this orientation there's going to be a structure of how to do things. I remember when I was here on my first day at work, I'm an S. I also have some I's, but I'm an S. And so I went out, I started my job the first day that you started school. And of course I went out and I was like, I really didn't have anything to do. So I went out into the foyer and had that nice blue shirt on that said student services. And everybody was asking me all these things about how to do things. Well, I didn't know. And it really frustrated me because I didn't know. I'm an ass. I need to know how to do things. So I just retreated to my office. I just hung out there. Okay? But that was, and sometimes I need to know, S's need to know has a registration problem, how do you help them as a group leader? When you have someone that has problems with the landlord, where do you go? And so S's really need to be realistic about things and have time frames. They also like to have conclusions to things, reach conclusions in a practical manner. And they're good at precise work and details and things like that. Intuition. Intuitive people like solving problems. So if you're a person that, if you've got the I tendency and people come up to you with something that you haven't done before in your eye, good. You'll be great at this. You'll be going, all right, well, how can we solve this? What can we do? I'm going to go and talk to this person, and I'm going to talk to this person, I'm going to talk to that person, because I'm going to solve this problem. I want to find out a way of doing it. Okay? And so intuitive people also like learning new skills. They put two and two together quickly. Oh, I did that before. This is what I'm going to do again this time. So they're really good at that. And patient with complicated manners. And you'll find that you may have some complications in your group, so the eyes are really good at dealing with that. Okay? How do you get along with someone who's an S person? So how many S's do we have here again? So with people who are S, often they are pleasure seekers, and really affected by their environment, again by the sight, sound, those type of things. They like things real and definite. So again, if you have S's in the group, they're going to want to know what's the plan, what's happening, how are we going to get there. They don't like things to be as postponed, okay? And they take things as they are at times. They sort of are like some more easygoing in some ways. And they crave inspiration, hate being pinned down to a definite ways of doing things. And in groups, you are going to have a structure, right? You're going to have a structure. My understanding is you're having a structure of what you're going to do with the group. You're going to tour the gear, tour the leather, those type of things. So N would probably say, no, I'm not interested in that. So you need to find a way to inspire them about it. Come on over to the library, because you're going to learn all about the CD-ROMs and won't that be a great thing? Or come on over to the Career and Counseling Center, and you can find out all about the career interest inventories that we do. So you need to find ways to sort of get into their interest. Sometimes they change their mind quickly in midstream, and that's because they're visionaries. And oftentimes they can be really good problem solvers as well. Okay? Thinking, feeling, like I said earlier, thinkers are very logical and analytical. And if you're a very, very strong thinker, sometimes people will perceive that you're hurting other people's feelings, and sometimes thinkers do because they think logically, they make decisions logically. And so they don't think about how it's going to impact you and the rest of the group. And so if you're a strong team, you want to think about that, because that might not be your tendency to think about how it's going to impact other people. And people who are T, they can get along without harmony, and I thought that was rather funny, because they just, it doesn't impact them. Where feelers are going, oh, I don't like this, everything's not okay, how am I going to make this better, those type of things. But thinkers are like, well, you want to get along, it doesn't impact them as much internally or feeling-wise. But T's do need to be treated fairly, and that's one of the things that people who are T's need to be treated fairly. Feelings, like pleasing, so all the feelers here, you like pleasing people. So you may, even as a feeler, think about, okay, I need to set some limits for myself during the orientation week, but I'm not going to, after spending all this time with these 40 people, am I going to drive them to the Bell Canada and then to Hydro? And because if you're a people pleaser, you can get caught up into doing many things that is not your role, and it's also something that's just, you don't need to be doing that in your job. There's lots of other people. Feelers, they relate well to most people, can be sympathetic, let decisions be influenced by their own or others' likes. So, this can sometimes get you into difficulties. If a whole group is deciding, there's a couple people in the group that, or maybe half of the group is deciding they don't want to do things, is that going to change your plan? How are you going to decide that? Are you going to be okay that there's going to be 5 people that aren't happy with the activity that you're doing? You need to think about how you're going to deal with that. So feelers, you want to move to the T part. You want to move to the mythological, analytical part. All right? So how do you get along with the T's? They need system and order, of course. They need to understand that when we do this, that this is going to happen. They tend to criticize things, and so, and that's just their way of looking at things logically. And they often are critical because they think that that's helpful information. They don't understand that that might hurt someone's feelings. Okay? And more truthful and tactful. Okay, so when people are giving you that feedback in a group, again, you understand from their style that they're more a team part. Just remember this, that maybe they just don't have a lot of tact. They are just being truthful about
They
things.
start telling us everything and waiting to skip further.
Are more process oriented in terms of, you go and you talk to your friend and you go, this is how I'm feeling, this is what happened to me today. If they have a friend that's very thinking oriented and logical, and then that friend goes, well, this is what you do about it. And it's often, men often tend to be more problem solvers. The woman's going, well, yeah, but I'm telling you because I'm just telling you how I'm feeling. I don't want you to solve my problem for me. And so, it might be that you have situations like that. But yeah. Getting along with F, they need harmony, so some of you are going to have to figure out if my group is not happy, or if they're being critical about things, not to let that, it might be that it's just the activity, it's not exciting, or it's those type of things. So you just need to make sure you don't take that too seriously. Don't be too sensitive about it. F's often shy away from conflict, find it difficult to be brief, and may not express themselves logically. You may ramble. Often as well does not value criticism, and partly because criticism, people who are asked take it more too sensitively. Okay, so is this, in terms of looking at how to go to a group, does this make sense, or give you some ideas about what to be attentive of yourself? Okay. All right, there's one more. The judging and the perception. J's, you need a plan. You need to know how things are going to be going. You like things settled as well. On the job, you may decide on things too quickly, so you need to be attentive to that. You may not notice new things that need to be done, because if you look at the P is really looking at what can be different. So J's, when you're in your group, it may be that there are some things that you could do that are better, or more effective, or more efficient. So be attentive to that if you're a J. Satisfied with judgment on situations, so again, wanting clarity. So you'll find maybe during registration week you won't get decisions made, because it can't be done until a week later when things are a little calmer. So J's, please don't let that get in the way or get you too frustrated. People who are P, very good at adapting, so if your schedules change, things like that, that will be fine for you. And you don't mind leaving things open, but this is great, but it can also be a detriment, especially if you have lots of J's. You need people that need to know when you're going to be going somewhere. You can't let that P side overrule things too much. P side, as well, they may have trouble making decisions, and also they may start too many projects. You're going to have a limited number of things to put on the job that may happen. Curious, welcome new situations. All right? J, getting along with a J, how do you do that? Give them a plan. J's often realize that they can be very opinionated about things. They want resolutions, and sometimes they like things the way they ought to be. So let's say the J's, there is a change in schedule, or there is something that got canceled and it's going to happen again later on. Know that about yourself, and know that about your group, that this will probably irritate some people, because it's supposed to be this way, it's in our schedule. This is what's supposed to be happening, so why isn't it happening? Okay? So those things are what J's, when you're working with them, you can deal with. And then with P, how do you get along with them? P people need flexibility. They hate being tied down to a schedule. So people who are P's are probably orientation in terms of, it may be that they're not happy at all, because they want to be going out, into Thunder Bay and checking out Thunder Bay. They don't want to be tied down to the university system. But they can be very tolerant, they have a great zest for life, and they like spontaneity. So you may find that the P's are wandering off and that kind of thing, and trying new things out. But they can be really good, but they're non-judgmental. All right? So this would be what you would need. This is how you need to understand people. I know it's lots of information, but a number of diverse groups, or diverse people from cultural backgrounds, different values, but also very, very many different personalities. And you'll find that you may click with some people and some may just irritate you. And so you need to look at what is it? Is it more their personality, their preferences that's irritating you? And so that you just sort
The
of...
stuff that are on the tables onto the floor. Put away chairs against the wall too. We need a lot of space. Don't move it by yourself. We don't need another hero.
Our camera is
One at a time, find someone to help you.
I'm gonna get a chair.
And can I tape this, or is it impossible? But is it possible? Okay. Everyone will feel like they were here.
You stopped. I was following you.
There's no leading in tables. We're not dancing.
Leading in tables.
All right.
What is your toothbrushes?
My new toothbrush from the dentist. He only gave me one, I'm not sharing.
Catherine's coming back.
We have to lay down.
Hey, wait, I recognize that.
It's a tarp. I don't know. I think you have to jump around on the square.
Twister.
No.
All right. Red cord. Now, I'd like you guys all to imagine that you are all on a trip to England. All of you are on a trip in one of those old castles. And just like being the extroverts that you are, you don't just stay confined in that old castle. You start looking around. You start looking at rooms, you start looking for different things. And lo and behold, you find a secret passage. This is the secret passage right here. It's a maze. I need every one of you to stand on that side of the maze. Now, you are all working together. In order to get through to the secret passage to who knows what, maybe buried treasure, maybe just another hallway, maybe it's like, let's make a deal. You might
Chips.
Maybe it's
pick
the
the wrong
Spice
deal.
Girls.
Could be anything, right? Could be anything. You guys are all working together as a team, all right? Now, what you have to do, me being the maze master,
Some master you are.
yeah, I know.
You're not organized.
There it is. I have the only safe path through the maze. Now, as a team, you must find that safe path. All right? Each one of you has to work together as a group. So, how it works is you step on a square. If it's the correct square, I won't say a thing. If it's the incorrect square, you will get a beep. I'll go beep. One more time. Beep. When you get the beep, you gotta get off the maze.
Beep is bad.
Beep is bad. You get off the maze, next person tries. Beep. Get off the maze. So you get to find the correct route. As you get through, you must then continue on until you get a beep. Once you get a beep, you gotta get back the same way you came. So you have to remember exactly how you got here.
You go all the way back out, you can't just like go back
So
on
it's
the square?
gonna be just like this. You have to go all the way back here.
Okay.
Okay? Now, say it's all the way out here. You get a beep. You have to walk back the same route you came, straight. Right? But if you wobble a little bit on the way back, that's a buzz.
How does it go?
Buzz. That adds 30 seconds to your time. Okay? This is the time to that. Alright? Now, in order, just a second. Questions at the end. When you walk, you have to go 2 feet on. Okay? 2 feet on each square. None of this. Checking out, trying to see if it's a beep or a buzz, right? It won't be said until you have 2 feet on the square. It's just like a chess move.
Can you go diagonal?
You go diagonally left, forward. You just can't
So you
go
go
backwards.
from like here to here.
Yep.
Can you skip one?
Left to right. There's no skipping. No hopping, no jumping.
Do not pass go.
Every time, every single person must be behind that line. Anyone, for example, if you're on the sides like you are right now, that's a buzz. Alright? Now that you know the first, this is the first initiative task. Okay? The second initiative task is over here.
Can I ask my question?
Yes, what's your question?
Does everybody have to go on this thing? Like,
Yeah. So what you have
we
to
can't
do,
have to go back here?
everyone has to go, only one person on the mat at a time.
Yeah.
And everyone must get through the maze all the way to the other side. So,
Okay, so
as
my-
soon as you get a beat, you get off the mat.
Well, my question is,
Yes. One person on the mat at a time.
okay, say I'm on the mat and I'm
Yeah.
like way over there and you, whatever you bump or beep or buzz me.
Okay?
Can somebody say, I'm going back, can we have like a person helping you
Sure.
to
You
get
just
back?
can't be on the mat.
Like leading you back?
You can't be on the mat.
I know, but they can say, don't take that one, you have to go straight.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
That's communication.
And then everybody has to go the same way through the maze.
Same way through the maze. Now, the second task, you will be, I'm going to split you off into two groups. Duran's going to take one group, I'm going to have the other one here. Right? The second task is over here. Right? You, as a group, must balance yourself on this milk crate. You want to get as many people as possible.
That's just
Right.
completely not me.
We've done it a billion times. How many people do we get up here?
I think we got 10,
10 people.
and 6 in the other room.
6 in the other room.
No, 3.
That was bad. 6 people. Try to beat 6. Alright? Try to beat 6. It's been done? No problem. Alright?
Can I be moved?
Watch the pop there.
You can put both.
Can I be pushed upside down? Like,
Then we're going to switch. No.
No.
Then we're going to switch, and we're going to see who can get the most people on the box and who can do this the fastest. Are there any questions? So we need teams. We're going to do teams right now. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew before we started.
No.
That one?
Yeah, not diagonal. Yeah. Diagonal.
Okay.
Diagonal.
yeah, one more.
Yeah.
More?
Okay.
Now go sideways.
You already tried the one there, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
diagonal.
So it's going to be one of these things. Okay, one either in front of you or the two to your left. Good.
Diagonal.
To the left.
Another way.
Nice.
Go to
One
the
more. Diagonal on the right.
Sure, the right's good.
Diagonal.
I don't even know where to go.
Back. One more.
Okay.
Back. There you go.
Oh, we went way wrong back that way, guys.
One buzz.
Diagonal.
Yeah, and then.
Don't go right, so go straight or left.
Straight or left. Straight or left. Straight or left.
Hey, she's
Yeah.
through. Go, go, go.
I don't remember.
Oh, everybody has to do it.
Hurricane. Go again, go
Left,
again.
left, diagonal.
No, go forward.
Okay, we can do it. We have a game. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!
Go down.
What is?
I think the two and the one in the middle and then the
Okay.
rest of
And then on the two to the
Get
left.
Rudy in the middle.
Rudy's in the middle.
Stand up. Alright. Then Pam and Kara.
No, you should move your foot right here.
Okay, I got you.
That side.
Forward.
Yeah, okay,
Diagonal to your right.
Yeah.
Forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. And then straight.
That's so stressful.
Last one.
It's gonna be next to my time.
You can do instant zoom on Joy's face.
I do know.
Do, 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 do,
Thank you very much.
do, 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 do.
Yeah, we need
Can everybody think they can
Myers
get pulled
big.
off?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Ready? Up.
1, 2, 3.
Then everybody pull.
Wait. Stay, stay, stay.
There's too much weight on this side.
1, 2, 3. Up.
Just for a little
I really can't watch this.
Oh, it's okay.
Hey, they're good. There's a place for that. Phone number, email if you're going to have an email. Down the left-hand column beside your name, if you need residents, like you're coming in on the first or second, so that you can participate in the training on the third, and you want residents early, because otherwise people don't move into residents until Saturday, right? So if you need residents early, would you just write res beside your name on the left of your name? And
Provided you're living in residence. You can't just come and stay for a couple of days, okay? I think I was very unclear there.
Sharice just to do this, I bet
Okay, and shirts, put down your shirt size, just beside your name to the right, extra large, medium, small,
thank you.
whatever
Actually,
want.
can I borrow these?
Put that in too, please.
Go do
That
your
will
thing.
go around while I'm talking.
Make sure I get them back, don't forget.
Vern, no Vern, you got it?
No. My guess is we'll try to do the shirts on the same theme as Rez and Lucy, who are going to do for the orientation shirts. And we'll make yours a different color, have student leader on the back.
No. No yellow, my
No, these are.
No pastels, please.
No pastel.
That color, it's gonna be yellow, make it so black.
Big is not a size either, Mike.
Okay. Next person, next. We're trying to get out of here by 9 o'clock. Accountability agreement. I have a couple in my files, and for orientation leaders to sign. And I was looking at rewriting this, and basically what it is a contract between you and me and Brent and all the people who are involved in orientation, that there are certain principles and guidelines that you agree to abide by while you're an orientation leader. So I thought what we would take 5 minutes and do tonight is talk about what you think should be in that agreement, and we'll get some consensus here on what are the things that would be important for you to agree to, and then I'll get it typed up and done for our September meeting, and you can take a look at those agreements, sign your life away in September. So let's just take 5 right now and list some qualities, characteristics, not characteristics. You're signing an agreement of what you agreed to do and be for an orientation leader. What would that be?
Positive role model.
Positive.
Nothing to do.
Can you talk really loud so we can hear it?
Enthusiastic, energetic, and approachable.
Fun.
Savage.
You're gonna make it fun?
You gotta be a fun person.
Be a fun.
We gotta put that in writing, for sure.
I sign that I will be a fun person.
Oh, this is for like,
I like Richard's comment, I think he should repeat it.
Nothing illegal.
Nothing illegal.
Put some thought into this over the summer, not just like the last minute.
No.
Understand.
Pardon?
Understand. Very calm.
Okay.
You don't have an address at this time? Just what?
Encourage group cohesion.
Okay, so be where you're supposed to be. Can you push that a bit to be,
Like, don't decide to take your group somewhere, so make sure that you're just missing out. Don't just take off.
trusting.
Reliable and trusting.
And trustworthy.
Because you're trusting us with your
And trustworthy. That
okay, what are you?
Provide guidance and support.
Kind of stuff to do during the year, stay on the right track. almost failed my class.
I can bring an example of that.
Okay.
That's illegal, actually. So I wouldn't.
Anything else?
I think we should refer back to the legal act part on page 1.
Okay.
Facilitate cooperation, learning, and fun.
Good, fun, learning. Facilitate learning.
Cooperation and teamwork.
What do you want to go back to on the legal stuff?
Oh, what he was saying, he was like, this is
I'm being helpful.
Extremely helpful.
Joy, are we all gonna have, can we get that address list? Like in case we call.
Communicate with each
Yeah,
other.
and see like what we can do.
I have to actually apologize for it, so.
Yep, we got access to it.
It's email. We don't know.
That's
See what?
okay, so people would like copies of the list?
And I don't think we should be drunk while we're doing this job.
During the day. During the day. I agree.
And bars is the
I
next
disagree with that,
meeting.
Catherine, completely.
Do you?
I think we should all hang.
No.
Which is so,
Yeah,
we should
fair
be
enough
sober
to
free
say,
for the whole
while
week.
you're with your groups, or you're doing any kind of group activity, you won't be drinking.
Or drugs. Oh, it's
Or
What if our group wants to like,
How did you know it's
doing activity. You may have a plan to do something, maybe the bonfire or whatever it's going to be, but you're not going to stop that. If your group or part of your group is all going as a team or a group to a place where there's alcohol served, I would see it as the leader's responsibility to make it perfectly clear that you are not going to sort of be a part of them going in underage and drinking. So if they're going to be a part of the Lakehead University group and there, that you would expect they would not, that you're not going to be a party to taking the X's off or whatever, that sort of stuff. Like I think you're setting yourself up for a lot of trouble. If that person goes and sits somewhere else and takes the O off and drinks, there's probably not a heck of a lot you can do about that. But I think it sort of sets some standards for your group that we're going, and those of you who are underage, I'm sorry, but that's the law. So you may get something that will come because of that, but I do think that that's sort of reasonable to lay down. And you're not going to put your sort of responsibility as a leader.
Yeah, we should just be able to show them a good time without, they let them know they don't have to drink, they'll probably have a good time and stuff like that.
Yes. And I would say about, like I say, at least half will be under the age. So it's very risky in terms of your responsibility as a leader. Certainly if they get caught in the pub, like a lot of Ontario don't particularly smile on such activity. But I guess I would say if you are going with them and it's as a group leader, I think probably, I don't know, we should get this down to what we all think. I think probably while you're there as a group, and if some of your group is not drinking, probably you should be.
I think that's fine.
Is that
Sure,
fair
we'll
enough
be
to say
fine
or no?
sober for a night, like RAs do it for the whole first week of school, and they're fine with it. We're like, kind of like.
Yeah, you have the same responsibilities as an RA, technically, really. When
if
you think about it, think about what Joy's saying. You have a group of individuals, you are all a group. Your goal as leaders is to become a community. Make this group all fit, all work. And there are going to be some people in res, some people outside of res, some people all over the place. You're going to have some people underage, some people who have experienced alcohol before, some people who haven't. You have a huge responsibility. Your responsibility is to teach them how to survive almost. Your surviving skills. Now, as a group, that is your community. That is their safe house. Every person in that group should feel safe with everyone else. If you are taking half the group who are of age to the bar, and the other half must stay at home because they're underage, etc. What happens to that community? You're splitting it right in two. And you are taking a side, actually. You're taking one side. And how does that feel? Imagine how that feels to other people. Right? So what my pledge is to you, and what kind of like I visioned this when we thought of this, is you are facilitators. And you're not going to stop them from going to the bar. That's fine. But be careful if you're saying this is a group activity. Because you can get yourselves in a lot of trouble. Right? Think about other things you can do as a group. You go to the bonfire as a group. Good guys, have a good night. See you tomorrow morning. They're off. Just remember, you want your goal is that every single person has the same amount of respect, same amount of feeling when you're in the group. It's a special moment. Think about your responsibilities. So, also your responsibility is to demonstrate that kind of thing. So, responsible drinking. These are your choices. If you choose not to drink, and that's what you want to demonstrate, that's what you value, that's good. That's great. This is all within yourselves.
Is there a legal liability for these people? Any occupiers liability or anything like that?
Well, the university has occupiers liability, and I can't say legally you have the responsibility, but probably morally and ethically. We're trying to show underage and other young adults a good time and give them some survival tips, and I think whatever we can do. I think also, again, not that we're preaching teetotaling or anything else, or that that's what you have to be or anything like that, but certainly they will look to you as role models, and if they see you during that week, even if it's not a group activity, even if you're not in with any of your group, my expectation for that time is certainly that you would be very responsible with your drinking. I would not put it upon you that you're not allowed to have a drink for orientation week, but my expectation would be that you would be very cognizant that somewhere up there in that crowd, or when you're walking home, or whatever, people who are part of your group or part of the Frosh contingent are looking at you as a leader, and they're taking some signals from you on what's acceptable behavior. So I think it would be very responsible. If it's a group activity or something scheduled as a group, I would say that the leaders really should not be doing that.
Because people really look up to you. I know I was like, my leaders are the coolest. So just keep that in mind.
I think that you gotta like film that one night for a week or remember here. Because I remember like in my first year, my roommate, we went to the pub with like our group, but we didn't know any of the rules of the pub, didn't know nothing. And it's like, okay, the pub's the coolest place when you're in first year because it's the closest place possible. And the rest of the bar is another day off. They say to themselves. But my roommate got in a fight in the first day at the pub and never was allowed back for the whole year. So in one night, ruined his whole entire year. Pretty much every Thursday when we were going to the pub, he was sitting inside by himself. And that was too much fun.
Good story to relate.
Yeah,
Good story.
yeah, I learned from him not to play the pub.
The moral of this story is, so if I were to word this something, responsible drinking throughout the week, the role model thing, and to roll that all into something, and when your group is in any activity, that there would be no drinking or drugs in your activities that you're doing with these students. That would be satisfactory to everybody. Anybody want to talk about that anymore?
If we did want to have like the night at the pub or whatever, for all the orientation kids, whatever, we could probably do like a Saturday and that would include everybody. And we could just say everybody go to the pub, all the orientation people, and do something. And we'll fill up the pubs.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Now, so, okay, we got that clarified, but what happens if we catch people doing drugs in our group, like during activities, like they can't go back to college or something, they went off and smoked pot and drugs, what do we do?
We're not their teacher.
Yeah,
They're
that's what I mean.
not gonna-
I mean, I think your role is to give them some guidance that this is illegal. I mean, really, they could be suspended or expelled before they even get in the door because it's illegal.
Just a very you guys are for me.
At least for distinction. It's very difficult as peers for you to be like a monitor or boss or whatever. Mostly, it's sort of what Mike was talking about. You're a role model. You've been there. You show them the ropes. So you can be a friend. You can be a support. I think more than that, I mean, they're your peers, really. They're a year or two younger. So, and that would be sort of a difficult role sometimes to have, and sometimes the balance will be a little bit fuzzy, but you just have to sort of focus on, okay, I am the leader. I am the leader. Okay.
I just have a couple comments, I guess. I don't know if the list is done yet, but I think too, you got to realize that you're creating a community of difference, and you don't want to make everyone the same and do the same thing, and that's okay for them to be different. And we didn't really mention about coercive activities, but that's along the lines. If they don't want to do stuff, like some of them might be INTFs, and they don't want to do it, and they're not going to, and that's okay. And I don't think you have to think of yourself as a failure if you don't have your 40 people at every single thing you plan. And under the role model thing, I'd include like joke telling, what kind of jokes you tell, make sure they're not sexist, racist, homophobic, offensive to some type of group. And sometimes it's really hard to find humor that's not those things. So maybe you could practice learning good, clean jokes over the summer.
That'll be our goal.
And the other thing is to look at disability. We didn't talk about that much, but some people in your group might have physical or learning disabilities or mental disabilities that may be not evident, so be sensitive to that. Or there might be someone who's very overweight and might not want to do a game where you have to lift people over a rope or something like that. Or they might have a cane, or they might have maybe in a chair. So you should consider that what kind of activities that they could include everyone. Or if you do need accessible activities for wheelchairs, that you're sensitive to that. Like there's games where you have to pick people up and just watch, or the whole gender thing, if you're making people bite wieners and things like that, they don't necessarily always want to do that. So just be careful of those kind of things. Or pairing people up, male and female, that might be uncomfortable for some people. So just be sensitive of those things. Doesn't mean you can't do any of those things, but make sure your group is comfortable with that, and if they're not, that's okay.
I have another thing. If we keep in touch during the summer, I think we should also plan to keep in touch during the week, so that, like, if someone in our group doesn't want to do our activity, maybe one of the other groups is doing an activity, that we could ask the other orientation leader to include them in. And we should probably, like, meet a couple times and say, like, this activity totally didn't work, so if you've got a plan, don't do it or whatever, so that we can all help each other out.
We have with the hosts before, I think at the end of every day or at the beginning of every day, they would meet for 15 minutes or whatever again, sort of build people in on what happened yesterday. These questions were problems, these people wanted this, we didn't have the information, that sort of stuff. So we could certainly talk about that. I've got schedules for you to have a look at as far as we've sort of got it organized tonight, not because of you. But we should probably build that in so that there's a couple of times during the week for sure that we can just touch base and talk about areas that are going well and some that need interesting and all that sort of stuff. So we've covered most of the things. I can play with some wording in a contract or whatever, and like I say, I'll have a look at the RA contracts, and I've got a couple of others, and we'll build something just out of the flavor of what came out tonight, and we'll have a look at that in September. Now, I had asked people if they could jot down their specific skills, if you're good at doing certain things, if you've got a lifeguarding or a certain level of sport or a certain level of music or whatever. If you did not remember to bring that tonight, you can either jot this down before you leave, or just drop it off to my office or send it in your office mail before you go home. Shirt sizes, everybody's remembering to put that on the
Where is your office?
Yeah, good question.
Upstairs.
My office is, if you're standing down in the Agora and you just look up top over the stairway, it's about halfway down that hallway.
You know that number, Jim?
Yes.
I'm just exchanging blows.
Okay, we will try to send out a letter sort of in a couple of months, just let you know where we're at, if we've got any,
Is that so
big
big?
happenings, pardon?
Is that so big? It's like, it depends on the shirt sometimes, I find. 'Cause this is large, sometimes I go to the Gap, it's like XL, I would wear it, yeah.
Well, I've said to a couple of people, if you usually wear a medium, put down medium, but if it looks like a really small medium,
Well,
or
I was
a-
September.
I've got like 6 shirts that I got from school and picked it bigger than you would.
Yeah.
We'll sort of try and put down your usual size, and then if, when we order them, they look real small, we'll up it. Does that make sense?
And if not, sure.
That's what I can do. So anyway, we'll try to send it out to your summer address, to sort of let you know where we're at, what's happening, any new ideas or things that are in the schedule, any activities Lucy's doing or whatever. We'll try to keep you abreast of what's happening. What I would like each of you to do, we talked a bit about this at the 2 individual meetings where we were looking at the job description for the leaders. And that was writing a letter or a note to the people in your group. Now, I thought about that, and I think the easiest way to do this, and the way that's not going to have any expense to you people, is if before you leave, you write a letter to your group. So, telling a bit about yourself, what program you're in, anything else you want to put in, why you're an orientation leader, what you're looking forward to, you're welcoming them to the group or whatever. Then we will send that out with your names on it. There'll be a lot of nice little squiggles or signs. You can sign that and send it out on your behalf. But what I want is the individual flavor of what you would say to the students. So if before you leave, you drop off a letter, if you were having to handwrite all of them, we'll put them on the machine and merge them with the addresses and send them out. We'll try to even put the individual names in if we can do that. And we'll send those out, because otherwise it's expenses to you. What we will also do is we will send you a list of your group with the phone numbers and addresses. If you want to further contact them, if they live in your area, if you want to phone them or anything, you can feel free to do that. But we will at least send out one letter from you. Does that sound okay? Is that reasonable? So everybody would just write a letter saying who you are, welcoming them to our.
You want this by April?
Just before you leave. So some people are going to leave in the next week or 2. You can even fax it back to us if you want to. We'll put them on the machine, and then when we get the groups divided, I mean, to do all that's going to be.
Where do we drop these letters off?
Pardon?
Where do we bring these letters?
Well, you could even gather them in your residence if you want. You could drop them at Norma Jean's office or my office. Either the students or. Pardon? Fax number is 807-343-8679.
Where's my office?
I don't know.
Don't know where that is at.
My office is right as you came in the front door.
You can phone collect.
First door on your right.
My phone number is 343-8149.
Unless you're Mike.
And, pardon?
It's your office number.
That's my office number. And Norma, who you met at the meetings, she's probably got the answers to all the questions if I'm not there, or you want to leave a message or talk with her.
That's not me. No, I'm not.
The other Norma.
Even though I'm
The
smart
other
too.
Norma. So, you can do that. So you've got the phone numbers. So you're all going to either fax or drop off letters before you leave. Okay? Your summer assignments, homework, it's really hard.
Your grade 1 teacher's coming out in you, Joy.
Really hard. I want you to talk to as many friends and people you know as possible, find out what they liked about the orientation that they went to, the school they went to, if you're going to work at camps or parks or whatever for the summer, what are great icebreakers, what are great games, what really worked, what's neat, and then we can have we'll build in a sharing time for some of those neat ideas alert and, I guess, try to pick up some neat ideas. And then the second part of the assignment is, just in every way possible, practice those leadership skills, communication, being direct, being, firm, decisive, leading some people, doing some things where you're taking on a leadership role. So if everybody can do those two things.
Head Start's coming up too, you know, once the register for that signs posted all over the place.
When is that?
5th and 6th of August.
What is? For an office? I don't know. What is that, sorry? You register for the
Yeah,
fall?
people decide to go to this, what's like this thing, she knows this thing.
Head Start's a program that's run out of the registrar's office. Actually, the liaison officers run that. They hire orientation leaders or student leaders. We usually have about 150 first-year students who come in and stay in residence for a night. They pre-register, and they actually do some of the study skill stuff, do some sessions, get to know each other. And they're here for about a day and a half. August 7th, somewhere like that. We run a parallel program for parents. We usually have 70 or 80 parents who come as well. We run parent orientation and a social for the parents and tours and just basically try to give them the informational that'll put their minds at ease about Lakehead. So we run those two on the same weekend or the same. It's usually a Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday. So those two programs run parallel.
I have a question about our groups. Is this, a traditional thing for these people that are coming in, or is it, are we gonna have 40 people for sure, or is it just gonna be if they feel like coming, they know they have a group?
Well, I would say that basically as a part of registration, they're being assigned to a group. So they're going to be told in their information package that on Monday at 11 o'clock, meet with your group in Fine Building, 1042.
What if there are more of us than there are students? Will we get them? Just some of us? Like what if there's more of us?
More leaders?
Yeah.
Well, there's-
I guess more leaders.
Well, there'll be 40 or 50 assigned to your group.
Yeah.
And you may only get 30 out or something, but you will have a group.
I think it was a lot of people missing from today's meeting.
We had 2 or 3 that came tonight and said they were either RAs or their job didn't finish in time or whatever.
So it's
I'm
pretty
hoping
tight
to
on
pick up-
numbers then.
Yeah, I'm hoping to pick up a couple more. We
I was
had 2
president.
that said they would come, but I didn't have their names. My client said their names and couldn't contact them about tonight.
So when does this group get together next formally?
September 3rd.
9 a.m.?
Is that,
Well, we'll send all that out in a letter where it'll be, but it'll probably be, yes, probably 9 a.m. on the 3rd.
that,
How many students are you expecting to run?
We'll have probably somewhere national students, native students will be running, probably separate organizations as well.
Are they gonna have, we're not gonna have mature students in our group?
Those will be. No, we yes.
When did we register? Is there a time that we're supposed to?
Good question.
What was the question?
When did we register? Like ourselves?
Okay.
That's a very good question.
Because I'm thinking, it's Tuesday morning, what's that line, school on like, get a chance to pick up around.
Joy will look into that answer.
I will.
But, want me to say it?
Any last words from Brent Evans, the new president of the Lucy Student Union?
Okay, let me just explain a couple of things here. The one sheet is,
See you guys later.
a couple of weeks ago. We should have had 4 lists, but we only ended up with 3, so I put those down for you just to see what people said. This orientation registration week schedule, let's look at Monday, which at the moment is blank. And at one point, we were going to have a number of different times for groups to meet. What the committee looked at the other day was why don't all the groups meet at the exact same time, or we'll set up different places. So you could put in on Monday, September 6th at 11 p.m. that the groups,
Yeah.
a.m.
Can you give me a schedule? Can you go grab me?
Oh, I worked that day.
Pardon?
I worked that day.
We will have 11 a.m. All the groups will meet, and we'll have to have 20 different places for students to gather, for the groups to gather.
How are the, I just don't know the rest of the things anyway.
Okay? So Monday, you're gonna meet your group for the first time. Probably do some icebreakers, do whatever. You can be thinking about what you want to do on that first day, or I guess the committee can talk a bit about if we should actually plan something for all the groups on that day. But we'll get you all together on that day. And then after that, did we go over this the other day? Get this through all this, okay? The only things that are added in here, then from when we talked about this the other day, you can see the mature student orientations. There's 3 of those. They start a half an hour before the Welcome 101s. So those will run all 3 mornings. And then on Friday, there's some study skills for mature students. We've got, the academic success sessions in the afternoon. Those are also, I think they were in there as a mandatory session or something, but we sort of changed that slightly. The day of rest, the committee talked a little bit about that, and I think we sort of don't want a complete shutdown of activities, but rather sleep in the morning, and then sort of some quieter activities if you want to meet or you want to do something. But it would be an early shutdown and sort of a more mellow day. Saturday will probably be a ton of BLUSU activities. We've also set up with the athletics department to run some sample intramural activities and stretch classes and all those sorts of things, or pool activities. You can go and take a sample class. Those will be running through this. So remember that this schedule sort of for all of BLUSU and residence activities are on top of this and will be available for people to take in as they wish. Can I ask what people, and you guys did this, I think, at the start, but these bonfires and skits those evenings, does that seem good?
Yeah. We had a bonfire during Winter Carnival, and I guess not a lot of people knew about it, but we got a really good turnout and I had a great time, so I think it's good to keep it kids too.
We want to do something all together, but it requires leaving the campus. How do we do that? Like, is there a bus available, or how do we?
Well,
I have no idea what goes on.
We'll send you the full schedule of activities. So you might say, well, I really want my group to take in Mountain
Ailing
Cave.
campground.
We'd like to do the bicycle tour, something like that. So some of that you'll be able to just channel into the other activities that are happening. Some things like that, if you're going to do that, you probably have to say, well, we're all going to take the crosstown bus and go.
Another thing too, on the first day is we should kind of schedules on the bus, because you know that there's like 20 different schedules or something.
In this group this way. So, if you're thinking you would like to do something and it requires bikes or equipment, or you want to run a ball tournament or do something, you can always pick up the phone, call me, give me your idea. I can get back to you on whether we can rent bikes or get the equipment or whatever. There is a raft of university equipment in terms of athletics and intramural equipment and outdoor recreation. How much of that we can have access to in that week, I would have to look at. But so if you think you're going to do something aside from all the activities that are gonna be running. If you'd like to do something special with your group, and you need equipment or a place booked or anything like that, you can let me know and we'll look after that.
So this is like, say, like, they're gonna do a trip to Sacramento in our group, and just jump the bus.
You got it.
And I have just a suggestion for the day of rest, so that we can include everybody. We can maybe suggest, like, find out when church services are on Sunday morning. Because I know there's some kids that probably want to go to church on Sunday, and we can inform them what time the service is at the Agawam or the other two churches that are on Balmoral.
Maybe like a group potluck dinner. That'd be so much fun. Like just like within your group.
At
No, not eating Versa next year.
Oh, you can eat
Not doing
buffet
it.
away at Versa.
Yeah, just like making
You have arms, I have no arms.
And what, Michael Jordan?
bread. We love bread.
I think probably over the summer, if you're chatting up friends and talking to people who have done this sort of thing before, you'll probably get some good ideas. And then if you phone them back to me or whatever, we can let people know, send off little notes to the group and just sort of generate some more ideas. As we get the schedule sort of worded up, I can send you a draft copy. Try and keep them informed. Now, anybody else got any major questions? Our Jean's tape's running out. She's concerned.
The 8-hour tape.
Let me just see if we can put it hand out. So, yes.
Remember Team Lion taping?
I'm taping this so that people who didn't come could actually watch it at another time. Some people had to go out of town.
There's two people who are out of town.
So they'll feel like they were here. Would you like to say anything special to those people?
Yeah, don't fast forward
This
to
was
it.
4 hours of the best moments of my life.
All right.
Gina's put subliminal messages in your tape.
It's gonna have all the tops of the screen will be.
Don't play it backwards.
Find a milk carton and put 7 people on it.
Find a milk carton and put 7 people on it.
If you play it backwards, you get messages like, Beatles.
Join a cult.
Beatles are dead.
Oh, I found her address now. It's in my head.
You just made one up.
No, I remember that.
Okay, we're definitely gonna need some more, see, we've got people here who just didn't show, period. Like we had some phoned and told me they weren't coming, that sort of stuff. Some who ended up being house presidents, but, so if you know key people who might wanna participate, they could come see me and we'll give them a shortened version of this and try and get them included. Yes.
Did you talk to Ryan, talk to Dave or anything? Is he one of those guys who just isn't coming anymore?
Oh yeah, he was,
He didn't contact you?
no.
Did anyone call him? Do you know?
Every single person was phoned and there was only
Okay,
3
I'll
Anthony.
get back to you on that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Joy woke me up at 10 in the morning. Hi. Got our rotation right now.
Yeah, you called me a week earlier. I'm gonna give you a hint, 11 o'clock is the line.
When you don't have classes.
I asked Pat.
I
I asked Pat at least.
Put that down. 11,
11.
not before 11.
My roommate's like, who's calling you now?
At 10?
I'm still in bed.
How dare you?
Sleeping on Friday.
Was it Friday too? For shame. Friday's noon.
It's a Friday.
I'm sorry, I won't do it again, I promise.
I only phone people early to annoy them. Well, I think we're going to have a good bunch. I think we're going to have a good September.
We're an awesome one.
The best ever. Well, it's the first ever, so it's going to be the best ever.
That's ever.
So,
That's this century. No, the best this century.
so we should,
You can't beat that one, because we're the only one this century.
Century.
now I turned into pictures.
Money?
I think we can get it cheaper than that. They quoted me $2 a picture, which is too much.
Who's that?
Norma Jean knows picture guys. Remember from our last meeting?
We can get
Yes.
Polaroids.
Anyway,
You can get the
yeah,
best
if I had the money as a Stanley Cup, we would. Anyway, so we may have to charge $1 or $2 for the pictures if we decide to go ahead with that, but that's probably not a big deal.
I think some people would find the group photos pretty, like, just good because they've got the security for swinging
Gosh,
school.
you're
And
tuning.
it's like a memory.
If you're cool, you just have to put on your hat.
Swipe your
There's
card.
Lakehead account.
So, as I said before, we've run orientations before, we've done this group thing before, so we're sort of feeling our way a bit. If you have suggestions, ideas, phone, let Norma or myself know. Any comments, suggestions, ideas, and we're trying to build it as we go, so we're interested in everybody's input. Thank you very much. I know it's a really busy time for everybody, and it's exams and assignments and all sorts of stuff, so thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Greg.